My idea behind the deck is I want to play like Sabine, but my own version because everyone else is going to be on Sabine. So I want to run something that I feel like not only is my creation, sort of, but is
Right.
also kind of unique and it works on its own way, but still does something similar to Sabine. So the main
Nice.
thing that I'm kind of concerned about, well, there's two things. One is I know the event package is kind of small, so is that enough? Like I have some cards for aggro, some cards for control, mostly going to I guess the control side, so that's a bigger problem. The other thing that I'm concerned about is my 3 drops. Like I think that I'm good on that. I'm not sure on the 3 fighters. I feel like I need at least one other 3 drop in the deck. But yeah, like any suggestions, I'm open to them right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun deck. First off, kudos to you for not just taking a meta deck and playing it. Seriously.
Absolutely.
If I do play the PQ this weekend or Orlando, I'm not playing a meta deck. I'm tired of the mirror matches. Sat down in Vegas, had 4 Green Sabine mirrors in a row to start the tournament. I was like, no, we're not doing this again. But this deck looks like a lot of fun, Sandy. Right off the bat, one thing I'm looking at, because I know that Maz is really good in the Han ECL, the new Han ECL, but don't we play it with 7th Fleet or reinforcement? What's the
It's in his sideboard. It's in Sandy's sideboard.
Yeah.
okay? So why not main deck the U wings?
Because I feel like the U-Wings are more for the control matchup, but I'm not going to use them into aggro most of the time. This is kind of aggro built main deck, and I feel like I don't use them most of the time. And another issue with it is it's kind of choked for space right now.
Right. So does the go ahead, Jonathan.
I think mid-range and control may still be like in aggregate over 50% of your meta right now in the PQs. I don't think aggro is gonna go over 50%. So when I'm looking at cards that can be in the main deck, I am looking at the cross section of what's good in aggro, what's good in mid-range, what's good in control. And if I have a card that's really good in mid-range and control, I'm gonna want some of that in my main deck for game one.
Yeah,
One of
because
my thoughts there.
to build on that, Wrecker cannot be ECL'd in earlier than 6 resources. Because you can't, as you know, you can't combine the Han ability with the ECL ability.
Yeah.
So it makes it, I know that in my Green Bean ECL, we would sideboard out Wrecker for the aggro matchup in the mirror. Because the game's going to be over by 6 resources. Like, you're not going to get to 6 resources when you're playing aggro decks. In your testing, has that been, when you play against a Sabine in testing, what have you found? How long did the game go? Do you get to record?
Usually to about 5 resources, so no, not there. The game's usually over by that point.
So kind of to piggyback off what Jonathan was saying, so now you're in this dilemma. If you're going to play a deck, main deck for aggro, I wouldn't include Wrecker. But if you're not going to include Wrecker, maybe you could include the U-Wings because Wrecker and U-Wing has no synergy. You almost can't play Wreckers and U-Wings in the same deck almost. It's really bad, right? Because you sack a resource with Wrecker, now you're 2 more turns away from playing your U-Wing. Like if you had a Wrecker and a U-Wing in your hand.
Okay.
You might want to make sure that it has voice.
Yeah, it has voice. Everybody can hear. I already checked it.
I meant on the stream.
Oh, yeah, it does. I
Definitely
don't know. What do
tough.
you? Yeah. So if you're main decking for aggro, I would not include Wrecker. But I'm not saying you should main deck for aggro. I'm not saying you should be main decking for aggro. I'm just saying if you do,
Sideboard it.
yeah,
In and out.
right. Wrecker would come
Wrecker's freaking
in.
amazing now.
He's so good though against Boba. Wrecker's great against Boba. He's great against Kira. Ooh, yeah. I don't know.
I think Frank's comment earlier about being off meta. I think it's more than just like kudos or whatever. The people you play against, they haven't practiced against your deck,
That's the biggest thing, I think.
but you have practiced against theirs because they're on
Yes,
this
for
meta
me.
deck that's like very common. If you're practicing against Kira, you're practicing against Boba Green, you're practicing against Boba Yellow, you're practicing against Sabine. So that's gonna be the majority of your matchups the entire tournament, and they'll have no practice against you, and that's your advantage there.
So I'm not sure I like the one of attack with 2 units event you have. What's your thinking on that one? I don't think
So
I'd
my
include
thought
it.
behind that is that Han kind of struggles with getting initiative, and oftentimes do either boba or aggro. They deploy boba, setting up the barrage, and it can only attack with 1 unit. So I'm struggling to get the damage through at that point. But it's also that the action cheat is very powerful to get into the 2 units, because this deck can't really run the rebel assault.
No, or the wing leaders,
I
or
was
the
just
fleet
gonna ask
lieutenants.
about rebel assaults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're you're losing the rebel package by doing it this route, which is
I'm going to agree with Sandy on this one. I
Yeah.
think having it as a one of means when you hit it on like turn 3 or turn 4 and it's in your hand, now you can plan around that. As you're sitting there
That's true.
doing your own math on how you're going to close this game out, you know you have outflank and your opponent doesn't. So you can position yourself to a place where you get to an end of the turn, you claim initiative, and you see that you have the pieces on the board to close the game out. The opponent thinks, oh, you're going to attack with 1 unit, then I'm going to handle this other one, and I'm going to recover. But you're actually going to kill them because you have that outflank and you planned for it 1 or 2 turns in advance.
Yeah. So my other question with that is, I think that I wanted to be a 2 of. Should I do 1 in Bane in one side, or go both into sideboard? Because it feels more specifically like an aggro deck, I think. But I'm not entirely sure, because it could work really well into really any deck, I think. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I initially I think it's not as good against control. I think you're gonna have less units. They're gonna be better at keeping you on 1 unit at a time. I could be wrong though, because you go so wide. So I might be wrong about that, because you have so many 1-drops because you're on Young Han. All of it looks like you're playing 2 units on the first turn every game. Is that
Oh
correct?
yeah, I would think so. A lot
Yeah.
of
It
games.
feels like right now.
And then maybe 2 units on the second turn in a lot of games.
That's
So
what you're
you're
hoping,
going
right?
so wide. I think outflank, because how wide you're going. I wonder if you run out of cards
I
to be
do
able to.
quite a lot.
Yeah, so you probably won't be able to utilize more than 1 outflank. So then it's about how often do you want to draw it in your games? Do you want to have it by turn 5 so you can use it as your closer? How good is for a cause? Do you not even play for a cause? Is
He has
it
one
outflank
in there.
instead?
How
I
many
see it,
does
but
it
should it
not
be
hit with?
outflank?
So
Oh,
that's
that's a
one
good
thing that
point.
I'm thinking about, is that, like, I have pretty good odds for a cause, but it's not really built to be a for a cause deck. For a cause is only there if I'm running out of presence on the board and I need to keep pushing damage through without units.
Yeah.
Which I guess the Ewing is kind of for the same purpose with the whole go wide idea. But I have the for a cause in to like push for damage, but also dig for my Ewings, my timely interventions.
How does this fare against overwhelming barrage?
Overwhelming barrage is a problem, but that's why I have outflank in the deck as a consideration, because I think that that action cheat to get 2 units in
Check the
works
mic.
pretty well into it. We also have their heroic sacrifices to kill their barrage target before it can pop off and destroy everything. That doesn't work against Boba. It only works if Kira deploys and tries to kill everything off the bat.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
yellow. Yeah. So, question: does he need to touch a ramp? What about the green ramp card? Is it Spark of Hope?
Spark of Hope is another thing that I've been thinking about. I'm not entirely sure on it, but I guess it could work. Like maybe a 2 of it. Because I don't want to draw it late game. I don't need more dead cards in this deck. Because drawing into R2 late's not amazing. Sure, it helps me dig, but it doesn't really put damage on the board.
I think this is why you want those Ewings in your main deck.
Yeah.
That's your last push after you spent down, because you don't have any card advantage going on here. Everything you have is making you spend down and run out of cards. So then when you get down, you've got a little bit of smuggle, which is kind of like late game ramp. So it's not ramp like resupply is ramp, but let's say you're on 5 resources and you draw a Cassian, you can go up to 6, smuggle out your Cassian, and then play that 1-drop in your hand. and you've ramped up to 6 by drawing a smuggle that lets you keep playing resources. So because you have Cassian and Timely, it's a lot easier for you to get to that 7 to play Ewing, even though you're an aggro deck. And then that can be like your final burst. Oh, you also have Reckless Gunslinger. So you actually have a lot of ways to get up to 7 in this deck.
It's that card, the last
Yeah, I
one.
like
think
Spark of
having
Hope,
that in the
maybe.
main is a good idea, and having that as your, your closers will then be Outflank to get that last burst, or Ewing to put that last set of threats on the table to see if they can handle it.
This looks fun, actually.
Yeah, this deck looks great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed playing it. I could tell already.
Have you thought about adding the heroic resolve to it?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good idea.
I've thought about it as maybe a one-of. I'm not sure on the card because I haven't really played with it much.
It's been really
It's
good for
good.
us in Yellow Sabine.
It has been. Getting through
Okay.
Sentinels and then
Mm-hmm.
with the Overwhelm too.
No, this deck looks fun.
And it's only
You
one
also have a
cost.
Delphi Patrol Wing for Ewing when you hit it. If you take the initiative going into your Ewing turn, you can also get your attack the same turn that you play your Ewing. So that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, so I have that and also the heroic sacrifices to push extra damage through.
Yeah,
Right. That's true.
and the outflank.
Yeah, so if you just asked me what I would do with the list, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just saying what I would do with the list is probably find I'd probably go to a second for a cause instead of the one. What event is this? What's it called? I can't see. Outflank. Yeah, I'd probably drop the outflank for a 4 cause. I'd probably take out a wrecker. Yeah, and probably 1 heroic resolve and add 2 U-wings. So. Yeah, those would be my suggestions. But again, I'm not saying I'm right.
I mean, take out heroic sacrifice, not you.
Yeah.
One heroic
Yeah, I'd go
You said
down.
resolve. That's what I was
Oh, sorry. I'd take out a heroic sacrifice and 1 wrecker and go with. And if anything, you may want to run 2. Actually, why not run a full play set of Gorilla Attack Pods instead of wreckers altogether? Because with the Gorilla Attack Pod,
One wrecker.
because it has grit, so it comes in on
Yeah.
5 resources as a 6/4 ready. That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's great.
Yeah, it's another Ewing hit that impacts the board immediately too.
Yeah.
That's
I would
true.
I would think of adding 2 U-wings and take out the wreckers, go Gorilla Attack Pod full set, and 2 U-wings on as the top end of your deck. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the appeal of Wrecker is killing Boba, but if you're on green Boba, they ramp and it takes you 2 more turns to be able to ECL your Wrecker. You're probably dead.
Yeah.
If you're on yellow Boba, you're still 1 turn behind.
Wrecker's mostly there to ECL and ambush overwhelm like 5 or 6 damage into the base.
So if you can ECL with a Poe and then play
Yeah.
your Gorilla, I mean, like.
Well, can't you
like-
ECL in the attack pod, ambush,
can
and
ECL, yeah.
and ready it after you've ambushed? Isn't that how that works?
Yes, you can. Yes.
And then it gets the extra grit. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, and even as fast as your deck's going to go with all the weenie rush, even ECLing in a K2SO may win because you have the overwhelm and the 3 damage from it dying. So you have good Poe, K2SO, Gorilla Attack Pod, ECL targets. And if they're messing with you in space, then you can even ECL in a Delphi, right? Patrol Wing. I don't know. I love Wrecker though. I hate to ever caution anyone to take a Wrecker out, but when you're running Maz, you got so many good hits off a U-Wing reinforcement, it feels like this would be a great deck to play U-Wing in. Main deck.
Wrecker is a big closer.
He is a great closer.
Definitely end the game that turn when you ECL him.
Because they can't react
I'm
to
not
it.
sure I want to completely cut the Wrecker. I could see putting him in sideboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I was testing against Chris a lot, and
Maybe do 2 and 2.
Wrecker closed a lot of games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe run 2 Wreckers main deck. That's what I said, I think, to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because then if you do run your wings, you can get 2 and 2.
But-
And you've got the R2s.
But because I think you're stronger with Gorilla Attack Pod than Wrecker because of the fact that it can come out on 5 resources as a ready 6/4. That's
yeah,
pretty
that's
damn
insane.
good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Right? I don't know.
Only thing it doesn't have is Overwhelm, right?
And then the other thing to do is think about just putting the Bright Hopes in the sideboard.
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm looking at right now.
That would give you
But
2 spots there. You only need him
So
against Yellow
I'll
Sabine
send
and Red
the
Boba.
edited version to coaching help right now, but it's looking like we're going to the outflanks in sideboard, one of the timelies in sideboard, 2 bright hopes in sideboard, 1 Ewing sideboard, 2 crates, and 2 confiscates, because I'm not sure they can use a scanning officer very often. So
Interesting. I mean, the scanning officer is going to be more important this weekend. When's your PQ? Is it this weekend or next?
it's this weekend. It's on Sunday.
Okay.
Another thing.
Then I think I would run scanning officer because I think we're going to see a lot of mono Han decks this weekend. After mono Han had such success last weekend and everybody
said
made
that
such a
too,
big
but-
deal about it, I think there's going to be a lot of mono Han.
You may
What do you
wanna-
think, Jonathan and Emily?
Well, I'm also trying to take into account my local meta, because I
Yeah.
play at 5 different shops, and they've only seen about 2 players on mono Han.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think if I was going to PQ, I would be excited to see a lot of people trying to take up Monohan because it's not easy to play.
It's not easy to play at all.
I would
No,
if they
you
if
really
they
screw
were
yourself.
they just had like a week of practice on it and they're bringing it to a
Yeah.
PQ, I'd be very excited to play against those players.
Agreed.
So I only know of 1 player who I'm pretty sure is going to go onto Monohan, but he has other options as well. I think Monohan's what he's going to do, and I know that he's really good. I struggle to take on him most of the time, even when he's on Green Palpatine. But if he plays Monohan and I'm on Han ECL, I feel like I have a pretty good 50-50 odds if I run to that 1 player, but I'm not trying to attack it to that 1 player, even though I know he's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think you're fine against Monohan. I mean, you might split games with them, but you have game into it, and you're not on a 6+ deploying leader, which is a weak spot to be in against Monohan.
Oh yeah.
Let me also
The
give
only way
you.
he can mess with my resources if he gets the DJ tech.
Is there room for one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about disabling Fang Fighter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Courtney
Caught it out here. I was like, hey.
had a good idea because you might want to run disabling Fang Fighters instead of confiscates, and here's why. So confiscate is a 1 cost, removes a upgrade, but with Han's ability, disabling Fang Fighter is a 2 cost, and it dies right away, but it still removes the. So you're only having to pay 1 more than confiscate if you want to use it.
As
For,
a unit.
no, for 2, just a
Just
confiscate.
to be an
But when you don't need a confiscate, now you have a 3/2 unit you can play. That also could do the
Just
disabling
trying to go
thing.
wide.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a thought, Sandy.
All right, I'll look into that.
Think about disabling Fang Fighters instead of confiscates. I've been preaching confiscate over disabling Fang Fighter, but because of Han's cheating ability, it only means your confiscate costs 1 more if you want to use it as a confiscate. And if you don't need a confiscate, then you have a 3/2 unit to put down. It doesn't feel as bad drawing like if you don't need a confiscate and you draw 1 late, it feels really bad. So I don't know. Just some thoughts. But yeah, if you put a new list in coaching, we'll all chime in and give you some thoughts later.
Yeah, I've just put send another one right now, so I appreciate the help. I will give this a testing version of my local site, and thank you everyone for taking the extra time to work with me.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, that's what we're here for. We love
Let's know
this
how it goes
stuff.
tonight.
How crazy is Darksaber in this deck? Like how
So
wild are we getting if we did that?
it's a card that I'm considering as maybe a one of, because they only have 1. I'm certain I could borrow 1 from someone else for the weekend, but I think that the problem with it is, yes, it makes it character a lot bigger, but it also makes that character a bigger target, and Fell the Dragon can take it down. Which
Well,
Fell
our leader flips on 5. It's not a 4, but it is 5, and it becomes a 7/9. That is enormous.
That's insane. Yeah.
It kills Boba. It kills Boba leader
Right.
unit.
unless he has armor.
Yeah, and if he has no good to me, Dad.
Yeah,
he can
and if,
stop it.
I expect kind of more of Boba Green than Boba Yellow.
Yeah.
With the meta. So I think that if they're doing that, they're getting out earlier than I am, so they have more time to get some actual damage in and stabilize faster than I can get the damage through.
When's
And
your tournament?
It's on Sunday.
Sunday. All right. Well, I mean, if you test it and you love it, I can ship you a saber. Don't worry about that.
Oh,
No,
yeah, for sure,
I got
yes.
locals. I don't need a saber.
Okay.
I tried saber. I've been happy with it. I just want to. I don't know. How do I put this? I don't want to go too big on 1 unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the only real big things are, I guess, that would be the gorilla attack pods and wreckers, sort of the Poe, but they're all there for immediate impact. Maybe with the exception of the attack pod, but still a great card.
And
The
a
only
lot of
other, I guess, tall thing would be red 3, but that's buffing everything.
Now I would only want to put it on your leader. That's all I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've done
and you got
really
so
strong
many
things.
Bodhi
putting
Rooks
it on
phasings and
yeah.
confiscates running in everybody's
Yeah,
decks.
that's a great point Courtney's making. Right now, there's so much hate for Saber in the meta
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's almost like you're almost just throwing a card away.
I think if I did play a Saber, I would bring one in from the sideboard, because people aren't going to be bringing them in.
Catch
Some
it
people
off
are going to be
guard,
main
yeah.
decking them, and they'll probably take it out against you. So could be an interesting tech to pull one in from the sideboard.
And when you make the top cut, they'll be able to see your deck list. And if they see you have a Dark Saber in the sideboard, when they're sideboarding, they're going to have to be thinking, crap, do I bring in Confiscate now?
And waste,
And I would love for them to bring in 2 confiscates for my stupid Saber in the sideboard.
Right.
For one Saber,
Yeah.
At least gives them something. You got to give your opponent chances to make mistakes.
Plus, if you main deck one disabling Fang Fighter, if you're playing against somebody like that too, they
Yeah, even one disabling Fang Fighter main deck might be good. But then he's getting further away from 4 cause.
That's true.
Because right now he's only on 6 misses, which is fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I still like 2 4 causes though in this deck. Because they're gonna OB clear your board, and you're still gonna beat them because you got a 4 cause in your hand.
That's true.
Because you don't have the ping from Sabine. You don't have
So
reach.
that's just like even more reason to put the Ewing in the main deck. It sounds like.
Oh no,
I agree.
I'm agreeing. No. I would go down to 2 wreckers and add 2 U-wings. I'd probably take out the outflank. I tested outflank a lot when I had a deck called Submarine Bean early in set 2, and never made outflank net was never good when I played it. I never liked it.
There's
So
no Sabine units, right?
yeah, he's got Sabine unit.
Oh, they do? I didn't see them.
Four
Oh, I see them
pods
now.
serves the same purpose of doing a few extra points of damage that they can't avoid.
True.
So I don't think that those 2 should be in the same deck, because sure, the outflank messes with the for a cause odds, but also the outflank is there for the aggro matchup, which is why I think it's sideboard, because getting that extra action sheet is really strong to attack with the 2 units.
Yeah.
And gearing to aggro, you often don't need the for a cause.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll keep it in and drop like a Ewing instead, but like I'm expecting to hit 3, not 4 with for a cause.
Oh no, you won't hit 4 with 6 misses. Yeah, you'll always see a.
Yeah.
Not always.
Maybe
you'll,
that sometimes too. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I love the
I
gorilla
love
attack
that
pods. I love them. I think there's an ECL. You could ambush,
Yeah.
untap, hit them for another 6. Plus, you get grit from the ambush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is.
So you line it up just right. You're gonna be hitting him for a ton of damage.
Chewie's yellow, right?
Chewbacca.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea too. A Chewbacca.
Well,
in
it's
here.
yellow.
It's yellow. So I was just,
Oh yeah, it's yellow. My bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is fun, Sandy. Thanks for showing us this list.
Great. Good idea.
Let us know where you get to on the list, and we'll give you some more feedback. And then we'll all be cheering for you Sunday.
Yeah.
Hopefully your
Sure.
PQ is streamed, and we can see you on stream somewhere.
Well,
Love it.
I don't know if it will be, but I know tower number 9 is going to be there. So
Maybe I'll just have
It's
a
supposed to
camera
be
set up.
is it
if
San
nothing
Francisco.
else.
yeah, I'll try to like take photos of my rounds and like post them in, I guess, general here.
Yeah, please
So
do.
that I can give updates.